Well, let's talk about line plots. Specifically, let's answer these questions today. Number one, what is a line plot and how is it read? Number two, how can I use a line plot to answer questions about differences? Well, we'll need to start with some data. Here's some. Some either very frugal or very bored person recorded the number of pieces of pizza eaten per person at a Kate Skate birthday party. And it looks like one person ate one, another ate three, a couple folks ate 2 pieces each. There's another 3-piece person, another 2-piece person, some pig ate 4, some person who wasn't very hungry ate 1, and yet another person ate 2 pieces. So, you're used to seeing this as a bar graph. You've been bar graphing since you were in kindergarten. So if I wanted to bar graph this, this is what it would look like. There we go. There's our bar graph that matches this data. So if we wanted to show it as a line plot, you're going to notice it's actually pretty similar. It's just a slightly different way of doing it. So here I don't have a y-axis. You'll notice that. It's just an x. So we're just going to kind of stack up some x's to represent each of the different numbers of pieces eaten. So how many people ate 0? Well, nobody ate 0. Hey, it's a party. Get some pizza. But 2 people ate 1 piece. Let's mark them right there. There's 1, and here's the second. How many people ate 2 pieces? Well, 4 did. So we're going to stack those up. 1, whoop, come on, 2, 3, 4. There we go. 2 people ate 3 pieces. Apparently someone brought their teenage son. And there we go. And if you take a look at it, you'll notice that the line plot on the right pretty much reflects the bar graph on the left. It's kind of the same concept. So here we are again. This is our line plot. Number of pieces of pizza eaten at a Kate Skate birthday party. And this time there's a math problem to go with it. It says, what is the difference between the most and fewest slices eaten? Now remember, anytime we look at a problem, we're going to ask ourselves, for what information is the question asking? And on line plots, you got to be a little bit careful because the question is, are they asking for a difference between amounts? Are they asking for the difference between most popular and least popular choices? In this case, it looks like we're looking for a difference, which is important, between the most and fewest slices eaten. Okay, so who ate the most slices? Well, this kid ate 4 pieces. And what was the fewest number of slices eaten? 1. So now I need an operation. I got to choose whether I'm going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. But it's pretty simple because it's right here in the question. It says difference. And remember, when we need a difference, we're going to subtract. So I need to simply subtract 4, take away 1, and the difference between the most and fewest slices eaten is 3. The kid who ate the most ate 4, the kid who ate the least ate 1. The difference between them is 3. Okay, well, let's take a look at some favorite colors in a 4th grade class. We need some data. Ah, there we go. We surveyed a 4th grade class and did our tally marks. Good opportunity to review tally marks for people to vote for their favorite color, and that's what we got. So the next step would be to build our line plot based on our data. And there I've done part of it. You see my 3 for purple, there's 6 for blue, there's 4 for green, and now I need to do 5 for pink. And I'm kind of making an effort to make sure I'm in the same starting place each time and that my X sizes are at least somewhat consistent so my bars end up right. You know, I said bars, I'm thinking of a bar graph because remember, this kind of just reflects a bar graph. Well, now what do? I have none for orange. Poor orange, nobody likes it. So what I'm going to do is exactly what I would do if I had a bar graph. I'd just leave it blank. So we're going to ignore it and drop in 2 for red. And there's our line plot. So now we've brought our line plot to a new page, which has a couple math questions with it. Number 1 asks, what is the difference between those who voted for the most popular color and those who voted for the least popular? All right, this is a slightly different function than last time. Let's underline what's important. Big thing that's important right here is difference, so that's going to help me pick an operation in a minute. But in this time, it didn't have quantities of choices. We want to know which one is the most popular and the least popular. Okay, so Just like a bar graph, I'm going to look up and look for the tallest line. And you'll see that blue is by far the tallest. Well, not by far, but somewhat taller. And it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people who chose it. So 6 people chose blue. Now, if you just look for the shortest bar on this, you're going to have a problem because it's going to be red. And if you remember, orange was a choice, but nobody picked it. So the least popular color was orange because no one wanted it. So we're going to take away our 0. And the difference between blue, the most popular color, and orange, the least popular color, is 6 votes. So how many more people voted for blue than for green? This sounds more like the pizza question we just did. We know how many more. That's important. Okay. Voted for blue than green. Okay, how many more is usually a signal word for a difference, so we're going to need to subtract. How many people voted for blue? Well, 6 did. We've already established that. How many voted for green? 4. So the difference between them is 2. And then, of course, just for fun, let's throw in some fractions. Take a look at my data sheet here. It shows the amount in inches a group of children grew this year. You'll see that 2 grew a quarter of an inch, 3 grew 3/4 of an inch, 4 grew a whole inch, and 3 did even more than that this year. And there's the line plot that matches our data there. Okay, well, let's take it to a new page and take a look at some questions. Number 1 says, what is the difference between the children who grew the most and the children who grew the least? All right, this isn't a popularity question. This is a quantity question. So again, difference tells me I'm going to need to subtract. Grew the most, grew the least. Well, the biggest fraction is going to be the one that grew the most. Here is 6/4, which is of course improper. So the kid that grew the most grew 6/4 inches, which is kind of a lot. And then some kids didn't do as much this year. They only grew 1/4. So my smallest fraction and my biggest fraction. The kid who grew the most grew 6/4. The kid who grew the least grew 1/4. And here it's easy peasy. 6/4 minus 1/4 is 5/4, which you should not leave like it is because it's improper. 5/4, well, 4/4 is 1 whole, so that's going to actually be 1 and 1/4 inches. So how many inches did most children grow? Most children. Okay, kind of a popularity question. So take a look, which one's tallest? This one's tallest. It's got more kids on it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 kids grew a whole inch. So you could list it as 4/4. But most answers, A, B, C, or D answers won't have 4/4 as a choice because you should know that 4/4 makes 1 whole. Then we got number 3. What is the difference between the most reported amount of growth and the least reported? Well, we already know that 4 kids report having grown a whole inch. So 4 kids grew an inch. And if we take a look, we might be tempted to take 5/4 of an inch and say, oh yeah, just 1 kid grew 5/4 of an inch. But wait a minute, 1/2 an inch was an option that nobody grew. So we're going to take away 0 because nobody grew a 1/2 inch. And then our difference is 4. Well, what did we learn today? Well, we learned what a line plot is. It's a different way of displaying data. It looks a lot like a bar graph. How is it read? Well, pretty much like a bar graph. How can I use a line plot to answer questions about differences? Be sure you pay attention to the question and make sure you are using the right numbers, whether they want a popularity difference or a difference in size or whatever. So that takes care of differences in line plots. Have a great afternoon.